See, I graduated in July 2022 with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Wuhan, China. I was even given an honorary credential. And I remember thinking to myself, now what? A part of me answered, we go home and rest. The past 4 years had been the hardest years of my life, and only I am able to understand the magnitude of terror China brought to me. No amount of writing and storytelling would ever really get anyone to understand it, because they never lived it. On my arrival home, I was welcomed with love, something I had forgotten ever existed. For 4 years I had forgotten that there are people miles away that genuinely loved me. I took my own advice and rested. Well, maybe not. Because 2 weeks after being at home, I found it odd to rest. So the society I live in does not promote rest. It doesn't understand prioritizing mental health. I don't blame them though. The society that I live in is poor. The average person is poor. The two aspects I have mentioned are not a priority when you are poor. So everyone had the same question. What is next? When are you going to start working? You need to start working. Me, a 22-year-old first-class civil engineering graduate, started to look at myself as a failure, because 1 month later after graduating, I did not have a job yet, and all I wanted to do was rest. So I decided to look for a place that could take me in as a trainee. And the first place to say yes to me is where I went. All I knew is that they were a structural engineering firm, and that was enough information for me, because I've always wanted to work in structures. What I didn't realize was what kind of structures they meant they specify in. These intelligent human beings specifically designed bridges. Bridges, a course I remember dreading in college, and even dancing and screaming when I was done with its exam. I remember feeling disappointed on my first day of work and also terrified. See, I did not like the course for a reason when I was in college. For me, it was the most difficult and yet most boring course in my time at school. Another thing I did not realize when joining the firm was that they were a consultancy that basically deals in designing. Designing, it's something that I have underlined. So designing in the civil engineering world doesn't necessarily mean drawings, but rather pages and pages of calculations. Now, yes, I know that that's partly my job as a civil engineer. However, for me, if I'm gonna do pages and pages of calculations, I need to be interested in what I'm designing for. This is because these designs, more than anything, involve a lot of sacrifice and a lot of time. If it means waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning to study, working late hours, you need to at least love what you're doing. Oh, I remember that the exciting but challenging designs I had to do when I was in college. Another side of civil engineering is the contracting side. The side I was excited for. The side I thought I was gonna be working in when I applied for training in that company. In this side, you're not designing, but rather putting into action what has been designed. For the month of August and the biggest part of September, I'd go to work even if it was not my cup of tea, for I was learning. I was learning the behavior of office and work environment. Every day I learned softwares, bridge engineering softwares, I made reports, etc. The downside to this was that I hated each day I woke up. It was not just because I had zero interest in bridges, but because I was exhausted. It's here that I learned how much energy is drained from you by using the brain all day. Maybe in another time I would have been able to pull through with this, but this time I couldn't. For 4 years I had done a similar routine to this one, but for it involved depression, tears, loneliness, and anger. So on the 24th of September 2022, I decided to do the very thing that my overly ambitious self finds so hard to do: rest. In the meantime, I will educate myself, practice that Chinese language, spend time with family and friends, and most importantly, for the first time in so many years, live in the moment, live in the now, and try not to worry. I am 22, for God's sake. Woo! This feels so good, guys.